What's up, guys? I know it's been a while, so let's do a little bit of a update, and kind of shop and go over. Let's get started. So, this car is a 1987 Monte Carlo SS. It's actually 85,000 miles, original car, and I just recently completed the LS swap. Now this is just a 6-liter with GM Performance, like CNC ported LS3 heads. They're actually a 6-bolt head. You can kind of see it in there. There's a 6-bolt. So a little bit of an overkill head for this setup, but that's what he went with. LS3 intake manifold, 42-pound injector, and it is a mild cam. I want to say it's a 228, 230 cam, nothing super crazy. I have a little bit left in it. Basically have to build the cold air intake, and I've kind of mapped it out yesterday, and I have parts on order. Then I have to build the AC lines, because this is a driver. He wants to just cruise it around, get some ice cream, and then I got to finish up, tidy up a little bit of the wiring up there. Basically that is like most of the AC wiring, original AC wiring, so I have to tie it into the one wire of the compressor to get this thing dialed. And I also did, this is Dakota Digital's almost factory style looking, let's go through the wheel. There we go. We'll go through the wheel like that. Factory style looking gauges. Beautiful, beautiful gauges. They do all kinds of stuff. And this is also on a Holley Terminator. It's integrated through the CAN system, so all of the gauges work. There's a couple of settings I have to do, so they don't work perfectly. It's just a configuration thing I gotta do, but we can, like, I have, the turn signals work, high beams. Of course, now it doesn't want to work. There it is. Horn works. Everything works. So we'll give her a... Yeah, like I said, there's a configuration I have to do with the gauges. It's got a good sound to it. Turn it off so you can hear me. They are, at the time, I could not get a long tube header for this thing. So right now, you can always change it later if you wanted to. Right now it's got like Hooker Blackheart manifolds, and they come down to an X pipe, 2.5-inch X pipe, goes back, and it had on it Borla Pro XRS mufflers, I want to say they are. So, and that's what it's coming out to currently. I have to still fix the tips. They're not perfect, because we kind of just welded to what was on there, and they weren't perfect to begin with. So yeah, so that's that car. The Camaro I've had for a little bit. Actually, I had it almost a year now at this point, but the guy's giving me money over time, and I've gotten things done, and it's pretty close. So just recently I put the carpet back in. Well, it's a brand new carpet, put the seats back in. This also has Dakota Digital gauges that are basically in there. I just have to do a little bit more wiring and pull the film off, but this car is pretty complete. Left on it, besides bodywork, it's actually going to go bodywork next. This car, it's pretty good. It's got all QA1 suspension underneath of it, with single mono leafs from QA1, their control arms, sway bar, all that stuff. And then basically, like I said, it's going to go to the body shop after I'm done. But I put a built 400 small block in it. It's got aftermarket iron cylinder heads, and then I also added the Vortec V3 blower, and then it has a blow-through carburetor, modified by CSU, I want to say. They did that for him. And then, so that's for fueling. And then for timing, it's got an MST distributor, and then an MSD 6AL2 box that's programmable with a 2-bar map sensor. So I can build a complete timing curve for this thing based on vacuum/boost. So like I said, this car is pretty much almost done. Also, it's interesting that both cars are going to be done about the same time. This one, what's left, I have to measure for the drive shaft and put the exhaust on with a wideband so we can dial in the fueling a little bit. It's actually, I had it running the other day and it was running kind of off, and I'm like, what's going on? And again, without a wideband or anything, I don't know. And I pull the plugs and she's fat. She's pretty fat. So I want to get a wideband on this thing so we can dial this fueling in. I'll probably pull the bowls and I'll check what jets are in it so we have a good base start to, know what we're working with here. But yeah, this car, it got a complete fuel system, AN lines front to back. It's got a brand new tank from a company called Tanks. It's got a 400 liter per hour in-tank pump. Awesome pump, super quiet, plenty of fuel for this setup. Honestly, even if you wanted to go fuel injection, it's still a pretty good amount of fuel. Then we have this. This is a customer's 2015 GMC Sierra 1500. This is a 6.2 truck with the 8-speed, so a pretty cool truck. Unfortunately, it had a lifter failure in cylinder 4. And he brought it into me. He's like, yeah, I checked to change the plug, change the wire, change the coil. And I'm like, oh. And then we found out it's cylinder 4. And then I'm like, it could be, direct injection also has issues with the valves building up and everything. But no, we found the issue. So I actually put my bore scope in it, and you can see the lifter top has come apart, which is a little bit interesting, but it's also a DOD lifter, so it just failed. That's one of the big downfalls of these newer vehicles. So I just pulled it in not long ago. I'm letting it thaw out a little bit, and I'm going to get started on it today. At least pull that cylinder head so I can see and make sure the piston isn't damaged. Because if it contacted the piston, we got other issues. So this is going to get, as long as the bottom end is okay. He bought a complete BTR kit, and those are actually 2 new motor mounts because these like to break motor mounts. So I'll get started on this in a little bit. And yeah, it's his daily, so we went with this. It's a stage 2 cam. It's nothing crazy, and it'll be good. Coming over to my car, this is the Mustang, my Mustang. I've had literally for years. So this is the built 370 out of it, but probably a little over 2 years now. I was changing the oil, and I saw metal in the oil, and I'm like, oh crap. And at the time, I was having so many converter and spacing issues and a bunch of issues, and I'm 90% sure it took out the thrust bearing. Like the metal was from the thrust bearing, because it's got perfect oil pressure, but I think the thrust bearing's hurt. It doesn't have extensive crankshaft play, but I want this engine perfect before it goes into the Fairmont. We'll talk about that in a second. This, as you see, I've done multiple drag weeks with it. And of course, the 1 year I said I'm going to focus more on my business and everything and get that where I want it to be, they dropped the tracks for 2025. And it's basically all PA. So I have to go. Like, it couldn't be closer. I could come home every night if I wanted to. I don't think I am, but it starts in Maryland, at Maryland International, goes up to New Media, PA, about 200 miles away, then over to Maple Grove, PA, then to Cecil County Dragway, which is 20 minutes from my house, and then back down to MIR. So super, super close. I have to do it. And a personal goal is I've been chasing it for a couple years with this car, is I want to win overall in SME, Street Machine Eliminator, 10.0 class, basically. And instead of this engine going back in this is going to get just a stock LQ4. It's actually coming out of the box truck. And I have a small aftermarket cam. I'm going to put the cam in it. And with that turbo, this car on about 10, 11 pounds of boost will run 10 O's. It does not need a lot of boost. The chassis set up pretty good. It leaves pretty good. And it literally, like I said, with that turbo, 10, 11 pounds of boost, boom, 10 O's. I am going to keep it on ethanol just because I'm not going into that motor. I'm literally going to flip it upside down so the lifters, stay towards the cylinder heads. Slide a cam in, button it up, throw it in. So this is going to go back up to my engine builder. He's up in kind of northern PA, and have him go through it. Once he goes through it and gets it to okay, into the Fairmont. Now, this car is a little different. I had the red one, the red Fairmont, the 4-door, but it had a couple issues with it, and I wasn't overall happy with it. So, picked up this one. This one is definitely more race car. It's completely gutted. The doors are gutted. Like, this thing is light. Super light. But it does have an 850 cage in it already. The one thing I don't like is it's got a tube front end. Now, I say I don't like it because that pushes me into the faster class for drag week. The one class that I would love to run is an 850 class, where the cage is legal. But the problem is, like I said, the tube front end. It's not legal in that class. It's legal in the next class, but the next class, it has a 750 cap. So I'm at a point. Do I cut the tube front end off and put factory frame rails back on it and, do that, or update the cage to 750 and turn it up and run that fast? I don't know if that engine has 750s in it, or 7s period, even like 790s. I don't know if it can do it because it's just a rod and piston 6 liter. It's stock block, stock-ish crank. It's K1, but it's a stock 1 equivalent crank. So I don't know if that, and it's still 4-bolt, stock head bolt size. I don't know if that engine will propel this thing and make enough horsepower to go 7s. I don't think so. I'm not particularly interested in going that fast. The internet has skewed everything, and everyone wants 4 million horsepower and go 4 seconds in the quarter mile. Like, I'm not about that. I have 2 children. The problem is, the faster you go, the more liability there is. So I think 850 is a good goal for me and a good area. It still requires a good bit of safety, but it's not terribly fast. You can go 850s in something like 3,000 pounds at like 150 mile an hour, 140, 150 mile an hour. To go 7s and 6s, you're almost 200 mile an hour in the quarter. Like, that's a lot. I'm not particularly interested in going that fast. Like I said, there's a lot more maintenance. There's a lot more liability. There's a lot more issues going that fast. So that's where I'm kind of with this. I'm almost at the point, I have it up for sale. $6,000, you can buy this. And I think for that price is great because it's got a built rear in it. It's got 35 spline axles, spool rear, Viking double adjustable coilover suspension, and the cage in the car. So like, if the cage is $4,000 and the car was $2,000, like, you get the rear end for free. Like, and I think it's a good deal at $6,000. And so if someone gives me $6,000, see you later. But that's where I'm at with this car. So I think I might put a motor in it. I might make it running and driving. And then that way, maybe I can try to get a little bit more money for it. I'm not 100% sure yet. So this car is currently a little bit on the back burner, I should say. This car, my Le Mans. Absolutely love this car. Slowest car of the fleet, but I don't care because it looks good. It's a beautiful example of a 70s muscle car. And it's awesome. I traded this thing a couple years ago for my 07 supercharged Mustang GT. and it's been great. I've literally put a Holley carb on it, so it's a little bit more adjustable than the Edelbrock that was on it. So Holley carb, and I've rebuilt with my buddy Justin the Turbo 350. That's all I've done to this car. It was redone in the 90s. It was painted this color, this blue, in the 90s. Actually, if you look at the tag, it was kind of, I think it was called Baja Gold or Baja something, and it was similar to that color. So this was done in the 90s. Somebody did this paint job, and they added the GTO stripe, the GTO spoiler, the GTO hood tag. So, but it's got your typical, I think it's, actually, I don't even know what body this is. It's the same as Chevelle, same underpinning as his Chevelle. I want to say it's X body, maybe. I don't know. Not 100% sure. But it's got your typical Chevelle issues. You know, it's starting to rust here because basically water comes down and it kind of sits in this area. And yeah, you can see this whole panel needs to be cut and redone. So like it's got a little bit of rust there, a little bit of rust there. I think there's like another spot maybe on the fender. I can't really remember, but it's a perfect driver. And my kids, my daughter's 3 and my son is just about to turn 1. And we're almost at the point where we can get in something and just go cruise around, go to car shows, whatever. And this is the perfect car for that. So I don't want to get rid of it for that reason, because it's awesomely reliable. It doesn't overheat. I'm going to fix the AC. It needs a little bit of wiring, and I'm probably going to convert it over to 134. But it's absolutely an awesome car. Like I said, it's the slowest of the fleet. My daily driver's faster than this, but it's awesome. Perfect example of a 70s muscle car, and it's a good looking car when it's cleaned up, and I can park it anywhere. If it gets a little ding here or there, whatever, but it cleans up nice, looks good in pictures, you know. So yeah. And speaking of daily driver, I'll show you what's currently, this is by far my favorite daily driver. I've owned probably 30 vehicles at this point, and this one is my favorite, not the scooter. 2003 Mercury Marauder. Now this is actually silver birch, which is kind of a rare color for them. In 2003, they only made 417, I want to say, of those cars. So awesome car. Panther platform. It's quiet, it's comfortable, it cruises, like I said, it cruises nice. I could just pound miles out on that car and it does not care. So absolutely love that car. I'm actually sort of in the process of piecing together. I'll show you one piece. If you can figure out what this is, we could be friends. Do we know what it is yet? All right, I'll tell you. That is a 2003 Mustang Cobra lower intake. So you put the Eaton supercharger goes on top of that. That's what I want to do. Is I want to do the Eaton swap to that car, because while it makes roughly 300 horsepower, well, they were rated at 305. It needs a little bit more. It's over 4,000 pounds. It needs a little bit more horsepower, and that car would virtually be perfect. A little bit more horsepower, that thing would be great. But as you can tell, this area needs to be gone through. I'm trying to find like the industrial shelving, that way I can put a lot of this stuff up on it, up out of the way. And honestly, I actually want to move all of the engine stuff over to this area, and that way I can have, you know, the shelving up top, maybe do like a workbench over here, you know, that way I can pull another vehicle in over there if I'd like to. And then, as you see, I have a lift, and we just poured, actually, I'd say earlier this week, Monday, actually last week, we test drilled, and even, this is actually newer concrete. We test drilled it. It was only like 3 inches thick, which is not going to work for a lift. So we dug up this area and that one. I'm actually going to put the lift right there, and dug into it about 12 inches, put rebarb down and fresh concrete. So this is super strong, super thick, and the lift will go right here. Probably early next week we'll set it up. So the landlord, super cool. He's probably the best landlord I've had, and super cool. He came in, did it. You know, he said give it a week to set up, and it's been about a week, so it's good to go now. We're going to put the lift up early next week. He said give it a couple more days like that, then you'll be good to use. So yeah, super excited about that, honestly, because while the quick jacks are great, I really want to lift. So that's a little bit of a shop tour, a little bit of an update. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to try to be posting more because I just want to get my business out there and show you what I deal with from day to day. I don't know if I'm going to do like a vlog style or, you know, just stick to customer builds or what, but I figure I'd give you an update. And like I said, I do want to be posting more just because I want to get my business out there. I want to 2025, I'm really trying to focus on the business. I want to get it. I want to get some good growth and really get out there. And so far to this point, I've done mostly literally friend of a friend, people name dropping me. And while it's been great, I really want to just push and get the business out there. I want to be so busy that I have to hire somebody. And that way I can then focus on doing this, doing customer builds, doing tuning for vehicles, and giving people what they imagine to life. Not so much the daily driver, but what they think they want out of their vehicle, make it a reality. That's what I love doing. That's what I love to give back to the clients. So hope you guys enjoyed, and see you in the next one.